Despite its proximity to China, Taiwan has reported only 439 coronavirus cases since the start of the outbreak. Now, the low case count is shining a spotlight on the island's international status. CBSN contributor and senior fellow for the Asia Society on U.S. and China relations, Isaac Stonefish, is following all of this, and he joins us now from his home. Isaac, so can you remind our viewers what position Taiwan holds in the international community and what position or how Beijing views Taiwan?
Taiwan has a position sort of as I'm trying to think of a nicer way to put this, but a desperate supplicant that really wants to be involved with the international community, but Beijing and the Communist Party does not let it. It frequently restricts it from joining any sort of international body because Beijing sees Taiwan as a wayward province that doesn't understand what it's missing by not being part of China.
So as a result, Taiwan is not a member of the World Health Organization, so could not lean on that organization to combat the pandemic in Taiwan. And remarkably, they did really, really well. Can you tell me how that impacted Taiwan?
This has been a really great several months for Taiwan in the international community because even though it's observer status at best for a lot of international organizations, Taiwan has been such a great example of how to deal with the coronavirus. And they've used a mixture of smart tracing, mask wearing, and frankly, calm to help fight the virus. And I think a lot of countries are thinking, well, we can learn a lot from Taiwan. Why is Beijing not letting Taiwan get up and tell its story?
So, Isaac, what are some steps that Taiwan's government has taken to stop the spread of the virus? I've spoken to some of my friends who live in Taiwan and who live in, for example, Singapore. They tell me that in many instances, they were scarred by the SARS outbreak and that they took a lot of lessons from that outbreak and that pandemic that they've applied subsequent to that, even before the coronavirus pandemic hit. But perhaps you can give us some specific reasons and specific steps that Taiwan's government has taken to stop the spread of COVID-19.
Certainly. Dozens of people died from SARS in Taiwan in the early 2000s. And the specific steps that Taipei has since taken, part of it is dealing with this early. We know that Taiwan started hearing about this several months ago and actually took concrete steps as opposed to just sort of waiting and seeing. A lot more temperature checking and a lot more of the understanding that this is something that needs to be talked about very specifically as opposed to sort of oh, what do we do? What do we not do? If that makes any sense.
And even before the outbreak, it was common for people in Taiwan to wear masks. Do you think that had an impact, too, on the spread of the virus there?
I think so. I think the general understanding that if you're not feeling well, you're coughing, you're sneezing, it can be a polite thing to do to not sneeze on other people in public and wear a mask when you go outside. It certainly helped as well. I think also compared to China and unfortunately the United States, Taiwan just has a much more competent health system. And that really does play a huge role in being able to fight the spread of this disease.
Vlad, you talk about sort of the population, and this is just, according to a Bloomberg article here, Taiwan, 23 million people, which is kind of in the same area as the state of New York, and they've only had 400 infections and 6 deaths. So they clearly have been doing something right throughout this whole thing. And I think it's true that we could probably learn a lot about them. Let me ask you quickly, Isaac, do you think this is going to sort of permanently shift Taiwan's international status, the way they've been handling this?
I wish it would. Beijing's primary foreign policy goal is to keep Taiwan sidelined so that Taiwan will eventually recognize its mistakes and rejoin with the motherland. So a lot more would have to happen in terms of the way that other countries view China, for Taiwan to really rejoin the international system. And because of how important the party claims this is to them, I think it's going to be really unlikely to see that happen.
Yeah. All right, Isaac Stonefish, always good talking to you.
Thank you.